On the Richter scale, right?
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Common Council meeting. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Hanson.
Present.
Jarvis. Here. Sedlacek.
Present.
Markham.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Riley.
Here.
Fowler.
Here.
Anderson.
Present.
Good evening and thank you. We have a quorum. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome, everybody. Item 3, approval of items for consent agenda. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
So moved, Alder Anderson.
Second, Elder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Yes.
Riley.
Yes.
Markham. Jarvis.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the audience portion where citizens are recognized by the chair, and this is where you get to talk and we get to listen. First person that signed up tonight is John McKinnon, Plymouth Utility Manager. John?
Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to report to you that we have updated our public information on the lead service program, and we're in the process of sending these flyers out in our water bills during the month of September. So you have firsthand the information we're sending out, and if you recall, we've been sending these out for over the last year. We send these out every 6 months to our water customers, and we made a point to update the information on the first panel to be reflective of what has happened in the last 6 months. So anyways, for your information and your awareness, we're going to update our website and put this information out there as well. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And the next person that signed up is Donna Hahn. Donna?
Good evening, Mayor Pullman, council members. I'm here to ask permission to use some of the city equipment, park benches and tables for Plymouth Oktoberfest. And I brought our poster along. You may have seen these hanging around town. And our chairperson is Karen Shireman, and she's been working very hard to bring the community a wonderful festival again this year. We have Polka Potion, Copper Box, the music vendors, and John Rail Orchestra. And so we have great food, great music. The GFWC Women's Club will be there. We have Spanferkel, brats and hamburgers, kettle corn, German potato salad, children's games and arts and crafts for the kids. So please, everybody, come out and enjoy. It's September 21st and 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Donna. Next item on the agenda, item 5, proclamation for POW MIA Recognition Week, September 16th to the 22nd. We have a proclamation, and I'll ask Clerk Huberty to read that. And we have with us tonight Jim Riesenberg to accept the proclamation. Clerk Huberty, would you read that, please?
Whereas, since its founding, the United States has fought in numerous wars and military actions, and tens of thousands of Americans, including a great many from Wisconsin, who were captured or were missing in action. And whereas many American prisoners of war were subjected to brutal and inhumane treatment by their enemy captors in violation of international codes and customs for the treatment of prisoners of war, and many such prisoners of war died while in captivity. And whereas the people of the city of Plymouth recognize that it sacrifices all of American prisoners of war and those who are still missing in action, and their families are deserving of special tribute. Now therefore be it resolved that Donald Pullman, Mayor of the City of Plymouth, hereby proclaims the week of September 16th through September 22nd, 2012, as POW MIA Recognition Week in the City of Plymouth, and calls upon all citizens of our city to join with him in observing this week in appropriate remembrance and activities.
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the proclamation as read.
So moved, Alderman Riley.
Second, Sidlacek.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Jim, on behalf of the city of Plymouth, we are very pleased to provide you a proclamation for safekeeping. Commemorate the activities that you'll be telling us about in a couple of minutes, so I won't take your storm away from you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how long we've been going through this ritual. I believe this is probably, if my memory serves me correctly, the 6th year. On behalf of myself personally, the veterans of our community, and most importantly, the family members of the unaccounted for, we thank you for your undying support of this project, and we look forward to seeing some of you Sunday morning at 8 o'clock at the City Hall flagpole for the hoisting of the black and white National League of Families flag. Again, thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Jim, and the veterans in the community for this observation, and we certainly invite the public on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, City Hall at the flagpole, where we will be raising the MIA POW flag. Moving on, item 6, presentation of 2011 MEEUW Safety Award and update. I'll call on our utility manager, John McKinnon, to do the honors. John?
Good evening. It's my pleasure to present to you this evening Dave Benferraro, the Executive Director from Municipal Electric Utilities Wisconsin. Dave is here this evening to give you an update on MEUW, as well as to present an award for 2011 safety. With that, Dave, would you like to come forward?
Thank you, Mayor Pullman, council members, John, thank you. I am here for a couple of reasons, and I'm going to make very efficient use of my time, Mr. Mayor. I have a prepared set of remarks which I will summarize. Those you can pass around, and then I'll offer this, which you can each take one of. As John said, I'm the Executive Director of the Municipal Electric Utilities of Wisconsin. The Municipal Electric Utilities of Wisconsin is a trade association. We've been around for a couple months shy of 85 years. We represent the 82 communities in the state. You see that in the white sheet. You see that list of communities down the left side. Those are the 82 communities in Wisconsin that, like Plymouth, own and operate their own municipal electric utility. Collectively, those 82 communities serve 281,000 homes, farms, businesses, industries. Collectively, those 82 public power systems have revenues, annual revenues of $717 million. Each and every one of them brings the value of local ownership, local control to the community, just like Plymouth Utilities does. So I have two items tonight. One, I'd like to present, as John mentioned, a safety award, and then second, I want to give you a brief update from your state association. So the safety award, and if I could ask a member of the audience, maybe the chief or something, somebody good with photography skills, I do want to document this moment.
Just in the nick of time.
That's why you didn't volunteer, Bill.
So, this is just a piece of parchment paper, but what does it represent? It's a 2011 Safety Achievement Award that I'm going to present to John McKinnon on behalf of the Municipal Electric Utilities of Wisconsin. The award itself, it's an application process, and it isn't simply a, did you do a safe job this year? You have to fill out this form, and you have to check whether employees regularly attend safety training sessions, whether the managers regularly attend these sessions. Do you have regular safety meetings? Do you review the MEUW safety manual with your employees? Do you document field observations with your employees? Do you have an active regulatory compliance program for your utility? Do you conduct and record a root cause analysis when bad things happen? And do you talk about it? Do you look into it? And then there are numerics, the lost time incident cases, lost time days, restricted light duty cases, medical treatments, and so on. And so it's an award that Plymouth Utilities applied for, and I'm happy to present this MEW Safety Achievement Award to John McKinnon. And again, it's more than parchment paper. It recognizes the dedication from the top down, you guys, the governing body, the management, John, and the entire staff at the utility. And that results in the safety award being presented to Plymouth Utilities tonight. So, long lead up. John, I'd like to present that to you and Chief. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Say cheese.
I better take my glasses
Oh, that looks a lot better.
Should have had Emmett do it.
Neither one have a number on file, I'm more used to numbers.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then a general update. I handed out a brief color glossy publication about what the MEUW is and what we do. We really focus on three things. We advocate, we educate, and we train. And the biggest, I'd say, function I want to talk to you about is advocacy. And we advocate on the federal level and we advocate on the state level. On the federal side, we work very closely with the American Public Power Association. And there's one issue that's on the bubble, I would say. It's been in the last two administration budgets. It was part of the, what was it called? The Simpson-Bowles Deficit Reduction Report that is gathering dust right now. And it goes to, there's talk of eliminating tax-exempt financing. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean for Plymouth? Well, this new utility building that you just built, you bonded for that, and the holders of those bonds gets to hold those bonds and earn interest tax-free because they're municipal bonds. If that tax-exempt financing tool is removed, that would remove a crucial tool in the public power tool bag. That's one of the things we use to keep our rates low and our work as efficiently as we can. So we've been working on this for about the last year or two, just making sure that every single member of the Wisconsin congressional delegation knows, very important to us, preserve it, don't eliminate it. Mayor Pullman has been very active in visits to Washington, D.C., thank you. And we have another visit planned in mid-March. Hope you can join us to rattle the cages again in Washington. On the state front, You know, it's election time. The state legislature is adjourned for all intents and purposes. But there are a couple things I want to mention. Last session, the 2011-2012 session, two issues. One, economic development rates. This was pushed extensively by Alliant and the Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group. Nice title, economic development rates. I don't think any of us are opposed to, well, how can you be opposed to economic development? We're all in favor of robust economic development. That's what makes our communities thrive and so on. But this was a little bit of a curveball. This was a proposal that would basically allow special rates for special customers. And we wrestled with it and couldn't quite come to grips with it. It didn't make sense that all customers should contribute for another customer to get a break. How does that special customer get selected and so on? That might come back. We're not sure. There was another, what I would call goofy proposal that would have eliminated the current statutory authority for utilities like Plymouth Utilities to back bill if there's a meter error. And that's something that we might see again. More likely, we'll see issues such as a proposal to repeal the nuclear moratorium in Wisconsin. Right now, there's a statutory moratorium on future construction of nuclear power plants. And I think you will see a proposal to take that moratorium away so that in 10 or 20 years, we might see another nuclear power plant, probably on the shores of Lake Michigan. And then the last thing I want to mention, the Public Service Commission. All electric utilities in Wisconsin are regulated by the Public Service Commission, just like Plymouth Utilities is. They've decided to take a look at the payments in lieu of tax, the pilots, the payments in lieu of tax that municipal utilities make to their municipalities. Plymouth Utilities makes an electric pilot, a fairly sizable electric pilot payment every year, as does the Plymouth Water Utility. And the Public Service Commission is examining that whole matter to see where it stands and if it needs adjustment. So I wanted to flag that for you. That's the quick summary, the highlights. I'd be happy to answer any questions or let you get about your business.
We appreciate you taking the time to come and visit us. If anybody has any questions, as an executive director, it certainly is appreciated that you take the time to come and visit us and talk about the issues. And you're right, the tax exempt bonds has been an ongoing thing for years, and not only does that affect our utility bonds, but our city exempt bonds as well. And that's an important tool for communities to be able to go out and get cheaper dollars, as we say that. So certainly big items, and I think it's important that as a consortium, which we are with MEUW, pulling our forces together certainly gives us strength in numbers, and that's a nice thing to hear. So thank you very much for taking the time to do that.
Very good. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the Plymouth Adult Community Center Operation Report. Tonight we have with us Martha Lanning, Executive Director of the Plymouth Intergenerational Coalition. Good evening and welcome to the council, Martha.
Thank you, Mayor Pullman and Council people. We're here today to just give you a little bit of an overview. We started in January of this year running the Plymouth Adult Community Center, and we monthly let Brian know how things are going, but we wanted to come on over and give you, all of you, the opportunity to see how things are going. And we're very happy with how things have been turning out. I'll wait a second here so that you can all get this presentation so you're not scrambling for. before we started operation of the center, we set some goals for ourselves. And those were that the council was very interested in accurate data on both duplicated and non-duplicated visits to the center, and I'll be talking about that more later. We set a goal of increasing participation at the center by 25%. We wanted to offer a wider range of programming so that we could attract a wider range of older adults. We wanted to meet with users on a quarterly basis to get feedback from them, and we wanted to meet at least twice a year with what we call the PIC Senior Advisory Committee. And those are the things that I'm going to go over and explain in more detail as we go along. So our very first thing here is that we have exceeded our 25% goal significantly. The graph that you see before you shows you the data that we have. We do not have data for August and September from last year. But the best month from last year that we have data for is 1,955 visits to the center. Now those are not non-duplicated, those are duplicated. And what that means is that if I came into the center and played Sheepshead this morning and I was gonna stay for the meal, that would be counted as 2 visits. And if I did it again tomorrow, it would be 4 visits. So every time I come for a different program, that would be called a duplicated visit and it would count in these numbers. So this most recent month, August, we had 3,216 visits. So when you're comparing the best month from last year to August of this year, it's a 65% increase in participation, which we're very happy with. And we're anticipating that that will continue to climb because the summer are months when a lot of people kind of lay back, they have vacations, they have a lot of other things going on. So we're expecting that to be climbing. Now, duplicated versus unduplicated, these numbers are the unduplicated. So if I came for the meal site and I came for Sheepshead and I came 3 weeks from now for a speaker series, I would only be counted once. It doesn't matter how many days I came, it doesn't matter how many programs I come. Once I've come one time, I'm one count. So we had this last month 558 individuals come in and use the center. And it's actually a larger number than that because I think some of you have heard, we purchased a system where people are actually scanning in. They get a barcode and they scan in, we have their name, their address, and then they tell us the activities that they're at. If we have people who are not scanning in, so they're just coming and we can count and see that we have 50 people in the room but only 34 signed in, we add the numbers to say they're guests because they have not chosen to get a card yet, and we're trying to get those people cards. But in the month of August, we had 348 guests sign in. So we know that there are more than 558 people that have come to the center. That's a 22% increase just since we've been capturing this data. So initially when we were collecting this data, we were doing it manually. It was very cumbersome and very time consuming. This new system is allowing us to capture the data and be able to give you a lot more details. So we've seen a great increase just since May. Now, in comparison, if you look at July of last year to August of this year, and I apologize for not having the exact same months, but I don't have any data for August of last year, we wanted to point out that it's a 171% increase from July of last year to August of this year. But in addition, we wanted to show that we have increases across the board. You know, we've broken this down into 6 areas: arts and craft, education, exercise, health and wellness, nutrition and recreation, and our increases are not coming from just one area, they're across the board. And the other thing we wanted to point out is the wider range of programming. If you look at July of 2011, you'll see that 45% of our participation was coming from the meal site. That's a county-run program. It's a very valuable program for this community where any seniors can come. You have to be 60 or older for that particular program. But you can come on over and for a recommended donation of $4, have a wonderful meal at the center and a presentation of some sort. And we publish that in our newsletter. The staffing for that program comes from the county. So 45% of previously was coming from that program of our attendance. Now we're down to about 31%, so a third of our programming, and we have growth across the board in the other areas that is making up for that. And so your dollars, the city council's dollars, are paying for those other programs. We also met with the seniors, so we had said that we wanted to talk with them, find out what kind of things would they like us to be offering at the center. And these are some of the things, and I'm not gonna touch on all of them, but we just gave you a little listing of some of the things they're interested in. Speaker series came out pretty strongly. They'd like to hear more about that. And they'd also like to be getting, well, they'd like more space. I said, I can't afford to give you more space. So, but we would, they want treats at activities, and they'd like a larger sharing tables. All their requests are pretty easy to deal with. And then we also started a wish list. The other thing is that we are actively asking for feedback into this month's newsletter. You'll see that we've actually put a little comment in the newsletter telling people that they can give us feedback anytime. And we did develop a grievance policy, which is at the back of your packet. Changes resulting from the senior feedback, these are all things that since we have taken over the center, we've added. We added music to the wellness and the game room to create a more inviting atmosphere, and the gathering room will be being installed shortly. We purchased another TV for the game room, and we added satellite kind of cable, whatever you call that, including a sports package for our game room. We have 2 more Wii systems in the building, so now we can have 3 lanes of bowling. We have a wireless microphone for the wellness room because our hearing impaired seniors were having difficulty hearing over the music that they loved, so they either hear Fred or they hear the music. Now we can do both. We added another bookshelf because we've asked people to donate books, and people can just come pick out one and bring it back on your honor. So that was recently added. We added blinds to the Masters Gallery Foods dining and the game room because of the glare. We bought patio furniture. We have purchased Microsoft Office 2010, 5 copies of it for our laptops. They're not loaded yet. I'm getting help from the city on that. And we are now getting into crafts. So we are buying molds to start wine bottle slumping. If you don't know what that is, I'd be happy to show you later. The PIC Senior Advisory Board was another goal for us. When we took this over, we're very good at management, but we have some expertise on our board that knows about seniors, but we as a staff did not have a lot of knowledge about what seniors would need or what we could do. So what we did is we created an advisory committee. It has a group of professionals on it from healthcare, a social worker, exercise and therapy, long-term care, and education, legal, finance. It also has 2 city reps, actually 3 city reps, a PIC board member, and community representatives, 3 of them. And the purpose of this group is to meet. We've been meeting about every 3 months, 3 to 4 months, and we sit down with them, then we give them an overview of how things have been the last 10, in the first 10 minutes, we give them an overview of how things are going, and then we spend 40 minutes to 50 minutes saying, what do you think we should be doing based upon your expertise? From that, these are some of the things that we've gotten feedback on. They think we need to have resource fairs to draw on all ages, that when you have a fair to talk about end of life, not everybody's real excited to come to that. And so we're trying to make it a fair that tells you about transitions in life so that we can touch on all kinds of things and not just be emphasizing one area. So they told us we need to market more. We need to get out there and tell people about us. More educational programs. We've had a veterans benefits program. We had a file of life program. We're offering a power of attorney for finance and healthcare, which will be coming up in November. We have had a scams program, a credit counseling, and we're working on an annuities, the dangers of annuities right now, and reverse mortgages. So those are all educational things that we're offering at the center. Exercise programs, we're trying to expand, and Fred Brown is our exercise instructor. He's a retired teacher from the Sheboygan School District, and he is phenomenal. And he is bringing in all kinds of new things. We have Zumba now. We've had a water exercise, and he's working in a collaboration with the Sheboygan School District to offer a water exercise program there, and there's zero-depth pool. We have Tai Chi, and we have weights. We have all these things that we're working on bringing it in so that we get a wider range of older adults. We also were asked to have healthy living, that we need to be recommending healthy snacks for both young and old, because many times they're similar. Cooking demonstrations for how you can use fresh ingredients and get away from some of the foods that can cause health issues. And then low-cost food options, too. It's very difficult to cook for one, and how can we do that? So that's kind of an overview of what the PIC Senior Advisory Committee is recommending. And what are we working on right now? Well, computers is one of them. We're trying to get an intergenerational program up and started here with Plymouth High students. We recently did do 2 sessions of one. Our difficulty is that it's hard to get kids who are in sports after school to come on over to the center because they have conflicts. We've been doing this is our 4th year in Sheboygan at the with North High students at Meade Public Library. But the difference is that those kids get out an hour early every Wednesday and they don't have any sports in that hour. Here, the schools get out one day during the month. And so it's just, we're having to figure out how can we do this. Everybody's committed. We have a lot of kids that are interested and we have a lot of seniors that are interested. We're just having troubles figuring out the timing of it. The laptops are available. We have them locked up, obviously, because we don't want them to disappear, but we recently bought a lock. It's a wire thing that hooks up to the computer and we can leave it sit out and it will be locked to a table. So we do have it out and sitting out so that people are aware of it and are starting to do advertisement on that. And then we continue to do our one-on-one with Bev Bemke on Tuesdays. You can do an hour, you reserve space. We're starting intergenerational programming for the school year here. We have Head Start Pals, which is seniors and Riverview Middle School students becoming pals with our 2 Head Start classrooms upstairs. We meet with them monthly, we do a little activity, we read with them, and we leave them a gift. And then we also are starting Pen Pals again, which was traditionally done by the Plymouth Adult Community Center for years and years with a 3rd grade class here. This year we're going to be doing it with Horizon Elementary, and it will be with all the 3rd graders. So I'm looking for 60 seniors who would like to write letters. Actually, we'll take anybody. You don't have to be a senior, but we need 60 because we want that 1-to-1 ratio, and we're trying to be sure that every 3rd grader has a pal. So if anybody out there would like to join, call Generations. We also are planning 3 resource fairs, so we're collaborating with a group of organizations in the community that offer services to seniors. October 22nd, it's going to be focused on living a healthy life. It'll be about exercise and healthy eating and those types of things. On November 13th, it's planning for the future, finances and power of attorneys. We're learning from our legal advisors that a power of attorney for finance is a very risky document. It's the minute you sign it, you just hand it over all of your, the ability to even change beneficiaries for you in some cases. It's something that we really need to educate people to, that just don't go get one off of the internet and sign it. It's very risky, and that's one of the things we'll be doing here. We also will be talking about reverse mortgages, which are a big talk right now, and the annuities, and just giving people general information. And then on January 15th, we'll be talking about living options as you get older. So how you can stay in your home for as long as you possibly can. What is assisted living? What is hospice? And what do you do when your money runs out and you're still here? So we're going to be giving all that good information. And then finally, we're promoting nonprofit organizations that serve seniors. This month, you'll see, if you look at our newsletter, that in the back we have a consumer credit counseling corner. And Matt Kautzer from the Consumer Credit Counseling Services is coming over, and he's meeting with people for 30 minutes. They just sign up, and he'll give them advice. And that's a nonprofit organization that already offers great services, and so we're helping with that. And then the Aging and Disability Resource Center, Pat Haferman, is also coming over. She's a benefits specialist, and she can help seniors with any kind of questions with that. So we're trying to reach out to other organizations in the community that already offer outstanding services, and then just making people more aware of them. So in summary, we're collecting accurate data and usage. We've exceeded our participation goal. We're offering a wider range of programming that we think is one of the reasons why we're drawing in so many more people. We're meeting with users to find out what they want so that we can offer programming that they're interested in. We're acting on the recommendations of the PIC Senior Advisory Committee, and we're just becoming a stronger resource. So each month, new things are happening, and that's kind of how it's going. So I open it up to any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Martha, anybody have any questions at this point? If not, certainly, sounds like you're available for questions, and we do have 2 council members, Alderman Williams and Alderperson Jarvis, who are our advisory representatives, and certainly, if you have questions and you can't get a hold of Martha, to work through one of them and follow up on it. Alderman Williams.
The new system that you have out there for data collection, I think it's great, and I think it's doing a good job. The only thing I want to remind the council about, though, was prior to the PIC taking over, one of the things that was a concern out there was the capture of attendance and activity out there. So I think your numbers might be a little bit inflated out there because what you're working from was very poor to start out. I think that what you're getting now is good numbers, and it'll probably be more meaningful next year.
I think that's a really good, yeah, I mean, I can see why, I can show you if we go back to that slide. We were capturing the data in the exact same way, starting in January of 2012. So 2192, 2434, 2778, that is the old traditional way. It's just we were spending a significant amount of time, wasting our time doing it. And more concerning to me was, you know, you're looking at this handwritten scribble and you're like, who is that? You know, so it's very difficult to monitor that and the new data. But there's no doubt about that, is depending upon how much time you put into capturing that information.
You're doing I know that when you started out prior to the computer system, then I think you were much more diligent probably in trying to
And that could
capture
be.
that than what was previously done.
And that
So
could be.
all I'm saying is I think those other numbers are somewhat misleading.
The thing for us is there are a lot of additional programs that we're offering, like pool, like ping pong, like mahjong. There's a lot of programming. And actually, I give to Brian, and Brian could share with everybody, I give a rundown of what all the different programs are. And you could go through there and see a lot of the programs that we've added since
Yeah, right now
we
that
started.
information is going to the two advisory committee members, and if the whole council wanted that on a monthly basis, that can be provided.
Alderperson Jarvis.
I just wanted to concur. I think that the point that Alder Williams is trying to make is that the 65% increase when you're comparing to 2011 to 2012, I think that using the data before December, I think may not be accurate, and that I think that's the point that we're trying to make.
Yeah.
I think that your data from, you know, December 2011 or January 2012 until now, where you had the 22% increase, that page, that definitely, that's all, you're collecting everything the same, you're using the same system. I think prior to the contract that we signed with you, I think some of that data, we were always very concerned, we didn't know what it really was. So I think that's the point I think that we're trying to
I
make.
think the 22% is number of individuals since May. Those are people coming in the center, additional individuals. If you look at the data here, 2192 since January of 2012, our first month, to 3216, roughly a 30% increase in participation since we've taken over.
Good. Any other questions or comments? We appreciate you taking the time to
Thank
put it
you.
together and the reports that you give to our city administrator, Brian Yurgis. And certainly if any of the council members would like data, a phone call or a note to Brian would certainly give you that. But,
Yeah, we can include it in the agenda packets if you want it. Otherwise, like I said, right now, how many pages is it, Martha? 7, 8 pages? Yeah. Yeah, you could do the summary one. There is a summary sheet. If interested.
You don't get the detail of like every exercise class, you just get exercises of the whole
Yeah.
this individual. It's just a summary.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you. We appreciate the time and effort, and we look forward to more updates as the year goes on.
That sounds great.
Thank you. Item 8, ordinances. The action on the following ordinances will be considered by the Common Council at a public hearing at 8:00 p.m. on October 9th, 2012, City Hall, Room 302, which is, of course, our council chambers. First item that we're announcing a public hearing on for October 9th, an ordinance amending the City of Plymouth Comprehensive Planned land use map by changing property from single-family residential to general industrial. This is ordinance number 19. This is regarding 104 West Main Street and 224 Spring Street. Likewise, public hearing is hereby announced for an ordinance amending section 13-1-22 zoning map of the zoning code of the city of Plymouth, Wisconsin by changing property from its present zoning classification of single-family residential district R2 to light industry district LI, ordinance number 20 regarding 104 West Main Street and 224 Spring Street. These require a public hearing. This is a public notification, and if people want to talk about these, they certainly are welcome to come. It is noted that these are on the city website and are available in the clerk's office for review and inspection. Moving on, item 9 is our consent agenda, which we approved earlier this evening. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
So moved, Alder Anderson.
Second, Alderman Riley.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Williams.
Yes.
Riley.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 10 is not necessary this evening. We did not have any items removed from the consent agenda for individual consideration. Item 11, committee reports. Public Works and Utility Committee recommendations from meeting of September 11th, 2012 on the following items. Item 1, discussion and council action on mayor and clerk to sign the intergovernmental agreement for Highway 23 frontage road in the city of Plymouth. I'll ask Administrator Jurgis to give us a brief summary, and then the chair will entertain a motion.
There's a Highway 23 mapping agreement memo, letter from Kapoor, as well as the actual intergovernmental agreement in your packet. But essentially, the 1997 agreement that the city has with the town of Plymouth, Sheboygan County, and DOT is that the agreement says that local authorities will map the corridor, and it doesn't specify which entity or sharing of costs related to that. And obviously, as it relates to the comprehensive plan, the corridor is part of the city comprehensive plan. And what we're looking to do is have Sheboygan County and the town of Plymouth sign on to this agreement and basically authorize the city of Plymouth to map it as we desire and according to our adopted comprehensive plan. And then that mapping agreement will be shared with WISDOT, and we will be looking at incorporating those costs in the 2013 budget. In addition, there is the potential we could use the Sheboygan County surveyor, which we will be discussing that with the county, which will reduce our costs for mapping the corridor. So that's a quick and brief update or highlight on that, and I guess I would turn it over to Chairperson Jarvis if she has anything to add.
The chair will recognize Chairperson Jarvis to make a motion on this, on item 1, please.
I move that we approve the intergovernmental agreement for the Highway 23 frontage road mapping to be signed by the mayor and clerk.
Second that.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 2, discussion and council action on purchase of copier for Plymouth Utilities. Administrator Yurgis, would you like to give us a brief comment on that?
I guess I would turn it over to John McKinnon for comment. But the Public Works and Utilities Committee made a recommendation to move forward with the purchase of the Xerox machine, which I believe was $6,500. So unless
Utility Manager McKinnon, would you like to make a comment before we ask for a motion?
Yes, this matter was reviewed by the committee, and we discussed, we obtained 3 proposals, and although one proposal was $115 less than cost, because of the maintenance service rates involved, the committee agreed with my recommendation that we should go with the one from Modern Business Machine, the Xerox Work Center, for $6,500. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
the only
McKinnon.
thing I'd add is that, again, the recommendation included that the 2012 utilities CIP is amended to include this item. To just note that in the motion.
Correct. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the purchase of the copier for Plymouth Utilities as stated. Alderperson Jarvis?
I move to purchase the copier in the amount of $6,500, and it also be included in the funds to be taken from the current budget.
Second, Alder Anderson.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Markham.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Riley.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 3, discussion and council action on WPPI shared savings loan with Shell Plastics. Again, Administrator Yurgis, would you like to comment on that, or you want to defer that to Mr. McKenna?
I can, go ahead.
Mr. McKenna, you want to comment on the shared savings loan with Shell Plastics, please?
Yes, the loan is for the amount of $10,672. WPPI and Plymouth Utilities would jointly share the default risk of that loan, so our share of that default risk would be $5,336. The loan is for a 2% interest rate over a term of 5 years, to be paid monthly. The monthly repayment is $187.06. The monthly energy savings is projected at $215. The loan will be used for the purpose of a compressor system upgrade at Shell Plastics, and the loan is under the threshold of $25,000, so the WPPI Energy in its review didn't get into a detailed financial review of the loan. And that was discussed this evening at the committee, and it is my recommendation, and the committee has followed on that, to proceed with this shared savings loan to Shell Plastics in the amount of $10,672. The other part of this project was mentioned at the committee meeting was the fact that there's focus on energy money involved, and I did track that down. I see there's $1,650 coming from Focus Energy as a grant for this project. That's what I have for you.
Thank you, Mr. McKinnon. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the WPPI shared savings loan with Shell Plastics in the amount of $10,672.
So moved, Williams. Second, Sedlacek.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Alderperson Jarvis.
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't make the motion because I dissented in the committee. The committee felt that, I think we voted 3-1 in favor of approving the loan, and I was the lone no vote because there was a change in the policy the WPPI that anything under 25,000 was no longer going to require a credit analysis. And I felt that even, although this is a very small amount, $10,000, and $5,000 would be the responsibility of the of the council, I felt that we could put together some kind of a minimum credit analysis or some kind of requirements to be provided by a business. I did not push that stance, although I think that there might have been the possibility to delay the vote on this for a couple of weeks, but the outcome as a result to a related agenda item in the committee was that the Public Works and Utility Committee recommended that their policy be developed in the future for future requests like this that are under $25,000 where there's no documentation on the credit analysis or credit worthiness of a company. I just think that for accountability purposes and for the sake of our ratepayers, that we should have some at least minimum analysis of a company's credit worthiness. So just wanted to explain why I'll be voting no for this.
Thank you, Alderperson Jarvis. Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Williams.
Yes.
Riley.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Jarvis.
No.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 12, new business, accept road right-of-way for a new road cul-de-sac in the city of Plymouth, East Industrial Park. This was recommended by the Plan Commission on September 6th. Administrator Yurgis, you want to comment on that, please?
Yeah, in your packet, there should be a map figure here, and I think all of yours should be highlighted as to where Blanky Court, did everyone get a highlighted copy? Just to note that the Plan Commission recommended this at the September 6th meeting, accept the right-of-way as well as naming it Blanky Court. This is part of the alternate bid related to the Willow Road project, and basically, with this, we are also recognize Mel Blanky's many years of service with the Plymouth Industrial Development Corporation, in naming it in his honor. That's about all I have. There was a question at the Plan Commission, I believe, if the hydrant over there would be impacted, and I believe that design of the cul-de-sac was taken into consideration with the existing hydrant. That was a question the Plan Commission brought up.
Thank you, Administrator Yurgis. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the, to accept the road right-of-way cul-de-sac and name it Blanky Court.
So move Alder Hanson.
Second, Alder Anderson.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? I would like to echo Administrator Yurgis's comment on the work that Mel Blanky has done for the last 25-plus years on behalf of the city, the Plymouth Industrial Development Corp., as well as a revolving loan fund. And it's individuals such as that step forward and participate in the city, and the recognition is well deserved. So that was a very good comment. Thank you. We have a first and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.